Hey everybody, it's after work. I was gonna sit inside and be lazy, but it's warm out here, but not too warm and cool. So I decided to come on down here into the woods because Grumpy Grunt mentioned mushrooms. And I kind of felt like I had given up on finding more mushrooms, but mostly just because I've been so lazy. So here I am down here getting ready to head down the hill to look for mushrooms in my woods. And I see this. I don't know if I'm brave enough to get near it. Something has made a little hidey hole in the brush pile I left there. What's it called? Slash pile, brush pile, small one from construction. I left there for birds to nest in it. That looks like something's been in there. I don't know if I'm brave enough to get very close. And this is snake season, so I'm terrified of snakes. Interesting. I wonder what kind of animal lives in there. I hope nothing comes out because I will scream and faint and wet myself. So the pile isn't even knee high. The hole's about 12 inches tall, wider than tall. It is wide. The pile is wide. So, do raccoons live in this kind of thing? Well, it's not anything that has dug up my chickens yet. And the chickens are following. They usually don't come down here quite this far. So they're following me down here a little bit, spoiled little things. Okay, let me continue into the woods and see what I see and get away from this because this is scary. So I got down here a little ways. When you're mushroom hunting, you don't walk very fast at all. So I'm down here a little ways. My poor woods, I need succession planting so bad. Some young man said he would come and cut some of my firewood, so I thought about doing that, but he hasn't called me back, so he probably dreads cutting and bucking and splitting wood and then trying to get it up there anywhere close. But anyway, or he might just be busy, I don't know. If you don't like to look at droppings, maybe avert your eyes now. Droppings fascinate me. I think I found bobcat droppings out here one time up by the road, up in the yard closer to the road. Bear droppings, all kinds of things. So, I am not quite sure what that is. If it were bigger, I would say maybe bear. But it is about the palm of my hand size. I'm not quite sure what left that behind. Hopefully not something scary that lived up there in that pile of brush. Okay. My pawpaw down here is finally taking off. I planted 2 pawpaws down here. One here and then one. There's another post up there by that. Is that a little cherry tree bush? I'm not sure. That one that seemed to have died a long time ago. This one is finally doing excellent. And then of course I have the 2 big pawpaws in my yard. So I'm excited about that. So yeah, my land needs succession planting so bad. The winter with the Arctic blast and the ice storm knocked so many trees down. So my plan is to clear some of that, and I always have the vines, poison ivy vines that grow up and kill everything. Now I don't see one close by. Until I moved here, I didn't know that poison ivy can grow on a vine and grow up the tree and pull the trees down. So all of that on those trees is the poison ivy vines. So I have to keep working. I tried to come down here with pruners, clippers, whatever they're called, and chop those vines. But I'm behind. Okay, back to mushroom hunting. Not mushrooms. But every year I see these, and every year I have absolutely no idea what they are. One year I thought that they were tulip poplar. Is that what? Part of the flower buds from tulip poplars? But I never see that they grow into trees. So if you know what these things are, please let me know, because I have no clue. Working my way through the woods. This tree came down recently. Well, the leafy tree came down recently. That one's been down. So here's some of the vines I'm seeing. Terrible. I gotta get down here and cut these out. So the Old Swedes farm reviewed an electric chainsaw, a small electric chainsaw, and that's what I'm thinking would be really good for this, because that's too big for me. That's my hand size. That's too big for me to clip with the loppers. The chainsaw makes me tired to carry it all the way down here, because it's a steep hill. But one of those little electric chainsaws would be really good for cutting these vines down. So, yep, a lot of damage in my woods. Okay, gosh, it's beautiful out here today. Let me keep looking for mushrooms. Okay, I'm almost to the end of my property, moving south from the house. And at one point I mentioned that I should come down here and show you guys the tree stand that had been once upon a time, and that maybe I would rebuild it, but I have since decided not, because the tree looks like, some of it looks like it's not doing well. But at some point, somebody had a really good spot up here. So I'd thought about somehow trying to figure out how to just lift that back up and get it back into place, but some of the tree is pretty damaged. So I don't think that that's what I'll be doing. But it's a good spot. And if I don't, then I just need to get down here and get this mess cleared up. So this is going up towards my yard, up towards the hill. And the deer are so plentiful here. There's all kinds of trails, many trails. Little super highways in my woods. Can hear my dogs. Yeah, so if I don't do it there, I thought about maybe building, like I'm gonna build it, having built maybe kind of a freestanding one. You know how they have the little towers, and it could serve two purposes. It could be a hunting stand and a like tree house if when the grandkids come visit. So I thought about putting it in that spot, or up there just a little bit more. If I put it up there a little bit more on that little What's that called? A ramp? The little old orchard road. Then if I'm up in the air at all, I'd be visible from the road, so I don't know if I like that idea. So I'm still daydreaming about tree stands and hopefully getting myself around this year to harvesting my own. So far, no mushrooms. I was kind of worried that mushroom season would be over with, but Grumpy Grunt mentioned mushrooms. I can't help it. I gotta get back down here and look. So I'm gonna climb back up here. Where's the spot? Sometimes I find them in this area. In my woods, they always stay closer up here, I guess, because that used to be an apple orchard, the yard portion. I have not ever found any mushrooms lower than this, down the hill from this. So I'm going to check that spot and get back to the house. I also have grapevines. Not as many grapevines as poison ivy vines, but the grapevines have been traveling from down the road. They're super bad down the road, and they've gotten to my property, and I didn't get these cut down enough, and they pulled down this nice big pretty tree. So invasive species, too many up here. But I just sat down here for a minute because except for the dogs barking in the distance, it's such a beautiful day. And I think I mentioned, I think I mentioned that I want to do some succession planting, get some young trees planted up here. And so far I'm looking at chestnuts. Although they have to be, I believe, Chinese chestnuts because of the blight. Took out the American chestnuts really bad, especially in the Appalachians, I've heard. But I'm thinking chestnuts, oaks, walnut, and then a couple red maples and sugar maples just for fun. But I want to try to get some trees that provide graze and food for the deer and the bear and that kind of thing. So that's my hope, is to get some of that planting done. Yep, so this isn't the most interesting thing, but I'm going to sit here another minute and then head back inside.